What's up, YouTube? It's the Action Figure Grader coming back to you with another video. I hope that everyone's doing well. First, I want to say thank you to my Patreon supporters. Your support allows me to make more and better videos. Back to the video, I want to take a moment here to show you a few items in my collection. They are all over the map. We have mint on card license figures. We've got a Lily Letty. We got an overstock Lily Letty. And we've got bootlegs from Russia, Poland, and Mexico. What do all of these items have in common? I bought all of these on Facebook transactions. And Facebook is a great source for finding not only common license figures, but everything from bootlegs to pre-production to just about everything. And it's very difficult to find some items if you are looking for a particular item and they never show up on eBay because they sell on Facebook. And there is a certain stigma or concern associated with buying on Facebook that I want to go through. And I'm going to give you, a general idea of what the dangers are, or at least the perceived dangers are of buying on Facebook, but why you should be buying on Facebook. Some tips for avoiding a bad experience and just for identifying the items that you're looking for. And then I'm also going to end this video with some example groups that you may want to check out on your own. I think that new collectors who do not buy on Facebook or experienced collectors that buy on Facebook regularly, I bet you'll find something in here of interest. So without further ado, let's get started. Let's take a look at what the perceived dangers or concerns are with buying Star Wars items on Facebook. Whether you are a new collector or you've been collecting Star Wars for years, here are a few concerns that I've heard from folks about buying on Facebook. One, of course, is the lack of eBay buyer guarantee. We've all bought on eBay before, and it's nice to have that reassurance that if something goes wrong with the transaction, that eBay will refund us. Two is, what happens if an item is damaged in shipping? There is a perceived lack of recourse for that, and we'll go over that in more detail a little bit later on. Three, what's the reputation of the seller? It's not as clear when you're buying something on Facebook. If you go to eBay and you check on the seller's account, his reputation and past transaction history comes up very easily. Four, which groups monitor for scammers? You want to make sure that you're buying something that's legitimate and it's not just someone trying to get your money. Five, is the item itself legitimate? Does it have ink touch-ups? Does it have wear that the seller is trying to hide? It's really hard to tell sometimes on Facebook if there's not a lot of photos. These will all be items that we'll cover in more detail during this video. So now that you're completely terrified about buying on Facebook, why should you? Why should anyone buy on Facebook with all of these potential dangers out there? Well, let's go through that now. The first reason is fairly obvious. eBay sellers have to pay a 10% fee for everything they sell to eBay, so prices tend to be quite a bit higher than on Facebook. I've found stuff on Facebook for 60% or less of what they would charge on eBay. The second reason is that eBay now charges a sales tax depending on where you live. I live in Tennessee and the sales tax is 9.25%. So to buy on Facebook, that saves me quite a bit of money just on sales tax. The second reason is rarity. Here are three examples of extremely rare items that were for sale or did sell in the Facebook groups. We've got a first shot Tusken Raider with alternate cape and thin spikes. We've got a pre-production Power of the Force proof card. And we've got a salesman sample with a B-Wing on an Emperor Royal Guard card back. These are types of items that you will never see on eBay, ever. And all three were for sale just within the last week. And finally, it's the variety and the community. These are just a few of the groups that I'm a member of on Facebook. There are literally dozens, if not hundreds, of awesome groups out there, each with their different focus. And I've met so many cool people as well. Lifelong friends that I really depend on now for advice and for pricing information. It's just really great to meet other people like me. All of my local friends think I'm a loser for collecting little plastic dolls, and Facebook allows me to tap into another group of people that are just like me. The first and probably the most important piece of advice I have for buying on Facebook is to be patient. When I first started buying on Facebook, I didn't really buy anything for the first 3 or 4 months. I just kind of lurked in the shadows and met lots of cool friends in the community, learned a lot, and also familiarized myself with sellers and who was fairly priced and who had good positive feedback. Number 2 is to join the right groups, depending on what you're looking for. Do you collect pre-production, modern vintage collection, standard licensed mint on cards, or certain foreign variants? You need to join the right groups in order to find the good stuff. Some sellers only hang out in certain groups, and you'll never find it if you're not in those groups. While some group rules strictly forbid this, if you do see an item that gets posted and there's no price and it's just showing it off, it might be worth sending a private message to that person in the event that they might be interested in selling it. If it's something you really want and the price is right, maybe they'll agree to sell it. That's been a success for me in the past when I've seen really rare items. One other good idea, if you have something very, very specific that you're looking for, is to post a WTB or ISO post, which means want to buy or in search of. And here's an example I did for a Lily Letty Gamorrean Guard card back. As you can see, I added some really pretty hearts to draw people's eye in case somebody had something. In this case, it didn't work out for me, and I didn't get any good responses, but it never hurts to try, and I have found many cool items doing this. One other piece of important advice is if you find yourself gravitating towards a certain group a lot and you don't want to miss out on things, you need to change your notifications for that group. On the left-hand picture, you'll see 3 dots in the upper corner. Click on that, and that will take you to your notifications changes. Make sure to pin it as you see circled in the middle photo, and then under notifications, click that bell, and that will take you to the 3rd photo in this slide. Make sure to change it so the in-app notifications are set to all posts. That way, your phone or your Facebook page on your computer will pop up with new notifications every single time somebody posts something. I've done that for the Deal or No Deal group because I tend to buy a lot of things in there. It's a really important change to make for your notifications. So let's say you see something for sale and you're not sure if the seller is legitimate or not, or if he even has these items. One thing that some groups do require is that they have a name and date photo, meaning that the seller has to put his name and the current date in a photo on the sales post. If you don't see one and it's required by the group, then chances are it might be a scammer. But check out the group rules first. Or let's say you find a seller and you're just not sure about him, or he's giving you a queasy feeling. A really useful group is the Star Wars Bounty Hunter Feedback group. And on here, people post both positive and negative experiences while doing a transaction with a certain seller. You can go there and using the search function with the seller's name, you can find out if you're getting ready to walk into a bad trap, or in Boba Fett's case, the Sarlacc pit. Keep in mind that you may need to convert the currency depending on where the seller resides. As you can see in this example on the PayPal screen, you need to click on the circled area to convert the currency to what the seller wants. Usually the ad will have what currency he wants, whether it's Great British Pounds, Euros, Mexican Pesos, but usually a Mexican seller requests US dollars. PayPal has a really terrible conversion rate for currency, and it's usually about 5% less than what the market rate is. Also keep in mind that PayPal charges a pretty hefty fee for any conversions, even if the seller requests US dollars but resides in Mexico. The fee usually varies depending on the amount. One really important point about using PayPal: most Facebook sellers require that the buyer pays the goods and services fee. Usually that's 3 to 4% of the purchase price. But I always use goods and services when it's someone I don't know very well. If it's someone I know really well and it's like a loose figure or something that has a very low chance of being broken in shipping, then I'll use friends and family. But otherwise, goods and services protects you as the buyer in case something goes wrong. And believe me, stuff can and will go wrong. Here are 2 examples of mint on card figures that were damaged in shipping. If you pay goods and services, you as the buyer are very well protected and will get your money back eventually. If you pay friends and family, You're basically depending on the seller wanting to maintain his reputation within the Facebook selling community to give you your money back. If you buy a really fragile item or a mint-on card, you better pay goods and services to protect yourself. One final point. Don't get frustrated. If you miss out on an item, chances are you'll probably see it again fairly soon. I know that I've missed out on stuff and been really frustrated about it, and then 6 months later it pops up again. So just be patient if you miss out on something. There's so much cool stuff on Facebook, and you're bound to find something else. So in no particular order, I'm going to show you a few good groups that are on Facebook. The first is Prototype Exchange, which is all pre-production, first shots, hard copies, proof cards, all kinds of good stuff. And it's for every toy line. The other one is Pre-Pro, and that is devoted to pre-production for G.I. Joe. For you autograph collectors out there, the Facebook group called Star Wars Autograph Universe is definitely worth checking out. I've seen everything from carded figures that are autographed to production photos. While I don't think I've actually bought anything in Bespin Prime, I definitely recommend joining it. The group is very welcoming to new collectors, and I always learn something new. I've met lots of great friends in here, and every Monday they have what's called Modern Monday, where people post their recent pickups that are all modern Star Wars figures. For those of you in the UK, Jabba's Court and Jabba's Palace are absolute must-join Facebook groups. There's some senior guys in there that have amazing collections, and they're always teaching me something new. Jabba's Palace works like an auction and is great for picking up vintage items that you may not see on eBay. Deal or No Deal on Facebook is easily my favorite group and is highly recommended. Sellers will basically post an item and say, "Make me an offer," and they will tell you which currency and how much shipping is. After that, it's basically a free-for-all where people will make offers until they hit a number that the seller likes. Just make sure you do not delete any bids because that's an automatic ban. Read the group rules carefully, but the most rare items I've ever seen have been on Deal or No Deal. Another important one to join is the EchoBase group. There's an EchoBase USA as well as UK. There's also a vintage auction. And for those of you who are like me who like to collect vintage variants such as PBP and Lily Letty, the EchoBase Vintage Variants group is a must join. For all of you TVC collectors out there, there are a number of Facebook groups devoted to the vintage collection. One in the US, one in the UK, as well as a third group that I found that I'm a member of. And the prices here are way better than eBay. I highly recommend it for filling in any gaps in your collection. That about wraps up this video. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I hope that it was useful. Don't be afraid to buy on Facebook, but just follow some of these useful tips that I've shared, and maybe your buying experience will be as good as mine has been. If you like this video, make sure to like and subscribe for future content. Thank you for watching.